Welcome to the best small business podcast. This is episode 269, and we're thrilled to bring you this week's topic. Go back 10 years. What would you do differently? I'm Rich G.
I'm BJ Flagg, and this is the best topic we've chosen in a long time. We wanted something special to start off talking about goal setting for 2023, and this is it. I love it. You know, if you were sent back, picture in your head, if you were sent back to 2012 and had 60 seconds to tell your past self anything, what would you say? Rich?
Yeah, this is like the Twilight Zone. What would you double down on in your business? What would you do differently? What would you stop and run away from?
This is a great exercise to not only look back at your past, but also to accelerate forward with new ideas, goals, and for the future of your business.
Yeah, and what's great about this exercise is it's going to help you to start planning for 2023. There's no time like the present. You'll see how we've architected this podcast on how at the end you're going to have so much energy to do it.
Energy.
So, BJ, what's
Absolutely.
our first action?
What would you double down on in your business? So think of the size of your business. How many clients that you had? Where were you physically back in 2012? Most of us were playing pretty conservatively as we were concerned about, spending any additional money or reaching out to capital financing or loans to bring on the right amount of staff and capital expenditures. So that's where you were, 2012.
So, in thinking forward to 2023, the largest expense for many companies is people. So many employees wait until the last minute to hire, thinking they are saving money, but what they are actually doing is losing opportunities. Now is the time to expand to capture a goal faster with the right people.
And think about it on the other side of it. What about expanding your equipment to accommodate new technologies now? This is the big area for not only expanding your business, but expanding the way you think of investing in your business. You are making a commitment to the future, and your future self is going to thank you.
Yeah, BJ, it's funny you mentioned about this, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, but I always thought of, well, I'm going to hold on to this car until I run it into the ground. I'm going to hold on to this computer until I run it into the ground. And as we all know, running businesses, as it runs into the ground after about 2 or 3 years,
Right.
it starts to fail and have problems. And I made a major double down in my business a number of years ago of, I'm only going to hold on to technology for 2 years, and then I'm going to buy something new. I'm going to, like, I just purchased a new MacBook because I know I need one. I renewed my MacBook, my Mac Mini last year, and I keep updating my technology. So, what about the bigger clients that you go after? Did you stay working on smaller ones too long? And you should stretch yourself to take on larger size clientele. You've got the talent and the infrastructure. Now you should take that risk and go after larger opportunities.
Right. It's so amazing when you do look back and you see what you quote didn't do.
Yeah, our action too is, what would you change? What areas or people held you back from 2022? What could you have done differently? Probably there were many times when you needed to change and you were fearful when you needed to be fearless.
Look at your products and services. Look at your team. Look at your client, your customer base. What would you have changed knowing what you know now? That's the biggest thing, knowing what you know now. I would want to kind of give you a good example of like we had talked in the EV earlier action about taking on larger clients, right? Well, we made the mistake of taking on one larger client, and it sucked up a big part of our business, a big part of our human resources were working on that one client, and the demands were amazing. We didn't have the systems in place. We didn't have the processes in place to accommodate such a large account. We did our best. We learned so much during that time. I'm super happy we did it. It was incredible for our portfolio, but looking back, that's, if that's our role today, looking back, I would have wanted to have a medium business to learn that on, or a couple of large businesses to all benefit.
Yeah, it's weird because I spent too much time, like back in 2012 when I first started the business back in 2006, many years working with lower level clients who only stuck around for a month or two. Money was always an issue. I don't know if I could pay you this month. I don't know if I could do this. And they really weren't committed to growing their business. They weren't thinking big. My job was to get them to think big, but they were coming from an area of fear rather than fearlessness.
But I
And
mean, do you feel that you learned a lot through those people though?
oh, I learned one thing: to charge, instead of charging monthly, to charge a retainer. And
Yeah.
that changed my business dramatically because we got the money off the table and we focused on the work. We weren't worrying about whether or not to work together another month. That was all paid for. And that radically changed my entire business.
Oh, such a great feeling, right?
Yeah, it really is. So write down all the times when you should have made a major or minor change. This is your business wake-up call. Once done, see if there are any behavioral patterns to the things you should have changed, but didn't because you were fearful and not fearless. That's the big one, is start to look at if there's a pattern, why you didn't take that step, why you didn't change, and how much it held you and your business back because of it.
Yeah, you'll see something and you'll be surprised. Action number 3 is, what bad decisions did you run away from? And no, we will not be talking for a full hour on this. We're going to, we all have made bad mistakes. Clearly, this is the good part. We have all lived to talk about it.
Yeah, I have tons of them. If I'd be running away so fast, I'd be out of town by now. I like, do you have an hour to do lots of technology mistakes? And when I say technology, like software systems that I would purchase and start using, I'm never going to use Evernote again. Shoot me now. There are people that love it. It was just so slow and kludgy. I spent time, I could look back and actually it's a good idea to do. Every year I built a new product or service or promotion and it went nowhere. And I learned, it's like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep building these? Like, people say, well, you got to do it. And I go and do it. It doesn't go anywhere. And I rely on my coaching. That's what people pay for. So
yeah. And mine was hiring. That was a big thing for me. I have a master's now in hiring, for sure. We had the PR guy that somebody swore by, thought he was a great guy, came in, he had no contacts in the local area. He didn't know any people and magazines or anything. That was a nightmare. We had a couple of return to work moms who didn't have any computer skills. Oh my goodness. They were personable, loved them, super nice. He didn't know how to use the computer. Such a hard lesson for sure. But you can see that, you need to laugh a little bit about these past mistakes. And more importantly, understand what you've learned from these potentially expensive lessons.
yeah, we want you to learn from them. We don't want you to flick paint, stick needles in you constantly, but we're going to learn from it, because if you ordered too much product and had to sell a portion at a loss, you learned how to dispose of excess inventory. how you see the warning signs of a product issue and act faster. You learned a lot from failure and kept going. That's a good job for you. And I say that, if you make a mistake, that's not a bad thing. That's a learning opportunity. If you make that mistake again and again and again, like I have, that's a problem. That's a problem. But if you make a mistake, that's a learning opportunity.
Right. Definitely.
So our action 4 is based on your feedback. What are your goals for 2023? We want you to now project yourself out to 2033. Okay. Take that energy that you've accumulated looking back and now make the same major shifts that need to happen today.
Yeah. What areas should you be doubling down on right now? What are areas that you should be changing right now? What are areas that you should be running away from right now? Make those changes. Be the bold person and recommit to your company. Recommit to it.
Yeah, sit down and take your newfound energy to build a one-page set of goals for 2023.
Right. He's just giving you a little hint about what we're talking about next week.
Yeah, we're spending the rest of the year talking about planning for 2023. So we're going to help you do it in many different ways.
Absolutely.
So our resource this week is this incredible book called The Strategic Planning Workbook for Small Businesses and Sole Proprietors by Sarah Joy. And
she has said something that I thought was so special. She said, I wrote this book to take the mystery, fear, frustration, and confusion out of planning for your business. My goal was to make it both down to earth and accessible. You should be able to finish this in a month, December. And if you're serious and work every weekend to really be diligent and bend on getting it all done. So fantastic project for December.
Yeah, Sarah also says it's easy is one of the most misused words in the English language. So I will not call it easy, but I will say this is concise and cuts through much of what you don't need in a plan to help you focus on what you need to do. So this is great. This is a great book. So.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for the week. You could reach out to me at newrenew.com. And you can find Rich at richg.com.
Thanks to our producer, Richard Scalzo.
Have an unbelievable week and catch you later.